The biggest football tournament, 2026 FIFA World Cup, is here, and it was supposed to be unlike anything the football world had ever seen. 48 teams, 104 matches, 16 host cities across 3 countries. The biggest, most ambitious tournament in the history of the sport. FIFA's president labeled this World Cup as the equivalent of 1,000 years of World Cups at once. And yet, right now, 5 days before the opening whistle on June 11th, something unexpected is happening. Hotels in several host cities are sitting with rooms they didn't expect to have available. International flight bookings are coming in below projections, and the people responsible for welcoming millions of visitors are quietly asking a question that nobody planned to ask this close to the start. Where are the fans? This isn't a story about the tournament collapsing. The matches are happening. The players are ready. The stadiums are built. But the conversation around fan travel, hotel demand, and international attendance has shifted in a way that's worth understanding. Because when 80% of hoteliers in United States host cities tell a major industry association that bookings are tracking below their initial forecasts, that number doesn't get ignored. So what's actually going on? Why are some of the most famous host cities in the world describing a once-in-a-generation football event as, in their own words, a non-event? And what does this mean for the atmosphere when the tournament finally kicks off? Let's get into it. To understand where we are today, you need to go back to how this tournament was sold to the world. FIFA marketed the 2026 World Cup as a historic expansion. For the first time ever, 3 nations would co-host. The United States would carry the bulk of the matches, with Canada and Mexico each hosting games as well. The format was expanding from 32 teams to 48. More groups, more knockout rounds, more football. FIFA projected the event would generate $30.5 billion in total economic output for the host region. Hotels invested, cities planned, local authorities prepared. Everyone expected an enormous wave of international visitors, particularly from Europe, South America, and Asia, the traditional heartlands of global football fandom. The American Hotel and Lodging Association, the AHLA, conducted a survey of hotel owners and operators across all 11 United States host cities. The results, released in their FIFA World Cup 2026 Hotel Outlook report, showed that 80% of hoteliers reported bookings below projections. In Kansas City, bookings were so far below expectations that they lagged behind normal rates for a typical June and July, meaning the World Cup wasn't even generating meaningful incremental demand. In Boston, Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Seattle, many respondents went further and described the tournament as a non-event. These aren't small, regional hotels struggling to compete. These are properties in major American cities that had specifically prepared for a World Cup surge. And they're not seeing it, not yet, anyway. There's a specific piece of background that makes this more complicated. FIFA made mass bookings of hotel rooms in host cities months in advance. Then, in March, FIFA exercised an opt-out clause and cancelled thousands of those hotel rooms across all 16 host cities, including Philadelphia and Dallas. The AHLA report noted that these initial mass bookings had created an artificial early demand signal. They made the market look more robust than it actually was. And when those blocks were cancelled, the real picture became much clearer. That created a situation where cities suddenly had far more availability than expected. With the tournament weeks away, here's where things get interesting. Because the hotel story is only one part of a broader trend in fan travel data. According to aviation analytics firm Cirium, airline bookings from Europe to the United States for July 2026 are down 14.22% compared to the same period last year. The sharpest drops are coming from major gateway cities including Frankfurt, Barcelona, Amsterdam, Paris, Munich, and Athens. For June specifically, European bookings to United States host cities are down around 5%, while demand from Asia is down 3.6%. Think about what that means for a moment. Europe is where some of the most passionate football fan bases in the world live. England, Germany, France, Spain, the Netherlands, Portugal. These are nations with deep football cultures, with supporters who have historically traveled in enormous numbers to World Cups in Brazil, South Africa, Germany, and Russia. And right now, they're booking flights to this World Cup at a lower rate than they were traveling to the United States this time last year, which wasn't even a World Cup year. What makes this particularly curious is that the currency situation actually favors European travelers right now. The US dollar is down 12% against the euro compared to last year, which means Americans' trips are more affordable for Europeans, not less. Yet demand is still declining, so it isn't the exchange rate holding people back. Something else is going on. And when you dig into what fans and travel analysts are actually saying, a few consistent themes emerge. The first is ticket pricing. FIFA confirmed that with dynamic pricing in place, tickets can start as low as $60 for early group stage matches, but may rise to over $10,000 for the final. For many international fans, the cost of a ticket combined with flights and accommodation has pushed the total trip cost into territory that simply isn't realistic. Even United States President Donald Trump acknowledged that ticket prices were high, telling a publication that he wouldn't pay them either. The second theme is visa access. The United States State Department announced a pause on immigrant visa processing from 75 countries, including some of the world's top football nations like Brazil and Nigeria. For fans from those countries who hold immigrant visas, the path to attending the tournament became significantly more complicated. Most hoteliers in the AHLA survey noted trouble with overseas visitors obtaining visas as one of the primary factors slowing down international travel demand, and the third theme, one that cuts across multiple markets, is general hesitation about traveling to the United States right now. Some international fan groups have publicly stated they will not travel to the United States in an organized way, citing concerns about safety and the current environment for visitors from certain communities. None of these individually would be enough to significantly dampen a World Cup, but together, across multiple markets simultaneously, they've created a pattern that travel data and hotel surveys are now clearly reflecting. But there's another angle here, and it matters for understanding how serious this situation actually is. This is not the first time a World Cup has faced slower than expected international travel in the lead-up to the tournament. In Brazil in 2014, concerns about infrastructure, costs, and logistics kept some international visitors away until much closer to the start, and then the tournament delivered enormous atmospheres. In Russia in 2018, there were widespread travel hesitations in the early booking period, driven by geopolitical uncertainty and concerns about access. The tournament still happened. The football was still played, and many fans who did attend reported that the experience exceeded their expectations. What makes 2026 different is scale. This is a 4018 tournament spread across 16 cities in 3 countries. The travel logistics for international fans are genuinely complex in a way that previous World Cups weren't. If you want to follow your national team through the group stage and into the knockouts, you might need to travel between cities in different countries on short turnaround times. That's a significant planning challenge, even for experienced football travelers. FIFA President Gianni Infantino acknowledged during the FIFA Congress in Vancouver that there had been significant discussions about the ticketing of the World Cup, signaling that FIFA is aware the conversation around access and pricing hasn't gone unnoticed. Despite all of this, FIFA's own data shows that more than 5 million tickets have already been sold, so demand for the matches themselves exists. The question that analysts are raising is whether the anticipated economic lift, the hotel revenue, the restaurant spending, the tourism dollars will materialize at the level that host cities planned around VJ. President and CEO of the Hotel Association of New York City confirmed that demand tied to the World Cup had fallen far short of expectations in that market specifically. New York, with its massive population and international profile, is one of the most high-profile host cities on the list. If it's underperforming, the conversation becomes harder to dismiss. Now, what does all of this mean for the players and for the fans who are going? For the players, the Mbappés, the Vinicius Juniors, the Jude Bellinghams, the Mohamed Salahs, the atmosphere inside stadiums is what matters. Players talk about it constantly. The roar of a full crowd, the noise in the final minutes of a knockout game, the electricity that builds over 90 minutes when tens of thousands of people are completely invested in every touch of the ball. If stadiums are less than full, or if the international mix of fans is lower than expected, that atmosphere changes. It doesn't disappear. Domestic American fans are engaged, and 5 million tickets have been sold. But the specific sound of a World Cup, that sound created by fans who have traveled from another country to watch their national team, is harder to replicate. FIFA's last-minute sales phase, which began on April 1st and runs through the end of the tournament on July 19th, does allow tickets to be purchased up to 20 minutes after kickoff, which means there's still a real mechanism for fans to attend matches on relatively short notice. That's an unusual feature for a World Cup, and it does give organizers a way to fill seats that haven't been claimed through earlier sales phases. For fans considering whether to make the trip, the picture is genuinely mixed. Some cities are reporting strong enthusiasm and solid booking numbers. Atlanta has been highlighted as a standout market with booking pace that's significantly outperforming other host cities. Cities with large existing football communities, Miami, Los Angeles, Houston, are likely to generate strong local atmospheres even without heavy international travel. But for a fan from Europe or South America who was hoping to navigate the full tournament experience, multiple matches, different cities, a real sense of the global festival that a World Cup is supposed to create, the cost and complexity of this particular edition present real barriers that previous tournaments didn't impose in quite the same way. So where does this go from here? The tournament starts in 5 days, and the bigger picture question isn't just about this summer, it's about what FIFA and future host nations learn from the signals this World Cup is sending right now. The best case scenario is that the slow booking pace reflects fans who simply planned later than usual. and that the coming days see a surge of last-minute bookings that fill the gaps. There's historical precedent for that. Fans do leave things to the last moment. Stadium atmospheres do come together even when the advanced data looked uncertain. Football has a way of generating its own momentum. The more cautious scenario is that some of the structural barriers, pricing, visa complexity, travel costs, general hesitation about the destination, genuinely keep international attendance below the levels the tournament was designed for. In that case, the economic projections for host cities may not materialize as planned, and some of the matches in smaller markets may have crowd sizes that don't match the grandeur FIFA promised. That the AHLA report noted that 80% of hoteliers reporting below projection bookings is not a number that can be easily explained away. Cities invested, hotels invested, local businesses staffed up and prepared for an influx that, so far, is moving more slowly than anyone expected. What FIFA may need to examine after this tournament is whether a 48-team format spread across 3 countries creates a fan experience that's simply too logistically complicated and too expensive for international supporters to engage with at the same rate they have in previous editions. The intimacy of a 32-team tournament in one country, where fans could feasibly follow multiple matches in different cities over a reasonable budget, may have had more value than was appreciated at the time. That's a question for after July 19th. Right now, the more immediate question is whether the tournament, once it starts, generates the kind of football moments that override all the pre-tournament concerns and pulls people toward it anyway. Because in football, one extraordinary match, one stunning upset, one moment of pure magic on a Tuesday evening in a host city can change everything. Subscribe the channel for further updates on the story, because honestly, that's what makes this story so worth watching. 5 days from now, the whistle blows, and none of the pre-tournament data matters quite as much as what happens on the pitch. But the warning signs that fans haven't been booking at the rate FIFA expected, that's a conversation that isn't going away. And it will be something analysts and football administrators are going to be discussing long after the trophy is lifted. Whether you're planning to watch from a stadium, from a bar, or from your living room, the 2026 World Cup is the most ambitious football tournament ever staged. It just might also be the most complicated one to attend, so I want to know what you think. Are the booking numbers a genuine concern? Or do you think the atmosphere at these stadiums is going to be electric regardless? Did the ticket prices and travel costs affect your own plans for this tournament? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And the conversation there is always worth having. If this breakdown gave you something to think about, hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more football fans. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. With the tournament starting in 5 days, there's a lot more analysis coming, and you don't want to miss any of it. This story is still developing. The hotel rooms are still available. The last-minute sales phase is still running. And as always, football never stays quiet for long. Subscribe the channel for more future updates. See you in the next one.